Howdy y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Scene, and in today's video we're going to be going on how to make a waterfall and a little river setup. So if you enjoy Palia content, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. I'm trying really hard to reach 1,000 subscribers, and everybody helps. And give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, so let's get into it. We're going to start off with our shelf on the wall. And I'm going to be attaching a wooden post, but it can be any type of post, to the right edge of the shelf, okay? And then we're going to take the shelf and we're going to turn it sideways so that we can then attach a flooring to the post. And now when attaching the flooring, I suggest turning the grid off. It allows you to get it into the proper placement that you see me do in this video. You can see right here as I'm working it into the proper placement. And once we're there, we're going to add 2 more floorings on top for a total of 3 floorings stacked on top of each other. Just like that. And now we're going to take our shelf and we're going to move it to where the flooring is on the ground. You can tell it's on the ground because you can see the grass peeking through the flooring in a lot of places typically. So I'm just trying to move everything to give myself proper space because I need space. Any rate, so I was originally going to line it with stone, and stone was a little short, and somebody in stream had suggested that I use the logs, and legitimately I can't recommend anything else but the logs. So, and yeah, I actually did this live on stream, and you can always check me out at twitch.tv/kfearscene. I'm always taking suggestions. You can come hang out with us. We do all kinds of fun things there. And yeah, so but anyway, so they had suggested the logs, and so I trying to find me a good placement for the logs. I really was debating on how much I liked that big green plant right there. I was like, I don't know, I feel like it's clogging up most of the bottom there. Really, I wasn't really too keen on it, so I ended up flipping this around, and you know what, it actually worked out kind of well for me. I mean, I like the way I ended up placing it. I like the idea of having the one that was further high up into the sky be more above the water. So I definitely preferred this setup myself and actually put that other one towards the top. And then I tested it to make sure that it was on there, in which it was. So then I went and I have to put the next one on there just to realize, oh, well, that one's still going to cover it anyway, so we'll see how it goes. But it turned out to not even be an issue, so I was literally making a big deal out of nothing, and I literally just could have placed it there to begin with. Now, one thing you note, I am putting those logs to the bottom of the post, not the bottom of the flooring. That is very important. You want these logs to the ground, okay? You can see here, I have them at the edge of the shelf, and then I'm picking up the shelf because I can't find the post, just to make sure that both of them are on the flooring. And as you can see, they are both on the flooring. So now we're going to put this back onto the floor, but be a little careful because as you can see here, when I'm like, okay, let's put this back down, I accidentally put it into the ground. And that's actually too deep and we'll throw everything off. So if you want, just put it a little bit up off the ground. It's fine. It doesn't have to be evenly on the ground. I just have to test. I'm a big tester as I go. I don't want to get halfway through something to realize I did it wrong and then have to redo it. So now we're going to place down our table, where it's the Capital Chic dining table done in shore color. And then we're going to take our choppa mug, whatever mug, bowl, what plate, whatever you want to use, and you're going to target the mug, then group select, and will allow you to move the table in between these 2 logs. As you can see here, I easily just set it down in there, and as I said, the lease really wasn't that big of a deal. So I'm going to grab the mug, we're going to put the mug on the table, We're going to target the mug and we're going to group select. And now one thing to notice is the logs actually curve a little bit. So I actually tried to like curve the waterfall a little bit. You know, I like it. You know, I'm trying to go with the course of the logs, you know. And so now we're going to take our third table and our final table for the waterfall. We're going to place it there, and then we're going to take our Choppa cup yet again. You know, the Choppa cup is literally my new dessert bowl. I'm so into the Choppa cup right now. And we're going to group select, and we're just going to put it right there and just fit it in. Make sure, you know, it turns green. And make sure there's like, you know, a constant stream of water. And there we go, we found the place. And there we have it. So now we're going to take our shelf and we're going to put it at the very tip top of our wall because it's literally going to be the only place we can set this. You're going to put it at the very tip top of the wall, and then we're going to come into the back and we're going to grab the post that everything is built on. And we're going to place the post on the ground. And then bam! There you go. For those who wanted to build a waterfall, that is how I build a waterfall in Palia. Now, we're going to take this one step further because, you know, we got to have a little bit more than that. So now we're going to build, you know, have a little pond at the bottom. But for us, I wanted to try and do an experiment, so I decided to do a little river. And so how we do everything is we're going to grab a stone pole specifically, and we're going to attach a flooring to the second notch going up on the stone floor. Very specific. As you can see here, you want it even with the second notch, okay? And then we're going to take our shelf and we're going to put it upside down and put it above the ground. And then we're going to stand on top of the shelf. We're going to stand on top of the flooring, and we're going to add another flooring. But we're going to turn off the grid. That way we can overlap it. You want to overlap it because you want to be up one more tile up, okay? And so now, just to test to make sure I've got everything right, I place a table there and I move my shelf into the ground, and as I can see, all I can see is the table. So I know it's in the right spot. So now I can just build from here. So now we're just going to take away the table. And yeah, so now we get to decide how big we want our river, pond, whatever you want to build. Your flooring here is basically going to determine how, you know, your water is going to be built. So for me, I'm going to do a little river, as I said, or a creek, or whatever you want to call it. So I'm just attaching flooring down in a straight line. And now I'm going to be attaching a big section down at the bottom because we're going to end it with a pond, okay? And so now we're going to place our flooring, and now we're going to test to make sure, or the table, and now we're going to test to make sure that the table is in the right spot and everything is in the right spot. So, you know, you want to put the table at the very edge of your first overlapped flooring. So now we're going to place our table, focus our Choppa mug, and we're just going to lay them in, you know, into the next one. And we're literally just building a little river. And I kind of got inspired by the curvature within the logs and was like, you know what? Let's do like a little curvy, like little river, you know? So we decided to, you know, add a little curve here. And now we're just going to, you know, straighten it out just to, you know, decide we're going to add another little curve on the other side. Because you know what? Why not? You know, I was going to do it and say, but like, nah, we got to do it on the opposite side. You know, it'll all be cleaned up in the final project, on the final part of it. So, you know, we're able to add it up, make it kind of the shape we want it to be, you know. This is where you're doing the initial shaping, and then you're going to do like the detail shaping, you know, at the end. So now this is just me just building the pond. So I'm legitimately just putting my bowl or cup, whatever, onto the table, and then group selecting and just putting it in place, you know. how we build most things dealing with water and tables in this game. So now we're going to be attaching our very last table. I thought I had more than what I did, but I guess I made my river a bit too long, but it is what it is. That's my last table, and so that's as big as our little pond's going to be. So now we're going to put it into place. So now we're going to grab our waterfall. We're going to line it up. I find it much easier to turn the grid off. It allows you to put the waterfall on top of the river very easily. And here I decided I didn't like all the grass that was in the water. So I literally tried to find me a good place to where I wanted everything to be. And I was like, you know what, here's nice. There's not too many grasses peeking through my water. So, you know, that space works. So now what we're going to do is we got to basically cover up the back side of this waterfall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking these new pieces. Now, one thing to note about these pieces is they are not the same shape. This corner is not the same shape as this corner. This corner actually has a bit bigger of a divot. And so that's what I'm going to be focusing on, is that particular corner, not the other corner. So, and we're going to be attaching the mug on top of the terrace, and we're going to focus the mug and group select, and it'll allow us to put the terrace into the wall. And basically we're just covering up that wall that we have everything attached to right now. And I'm basically lining it up with the little white corner piece that's right behind the log. I just want to see it to where I just see just a smidge of it showing like that, okay? And now we've got it in place. And I feel like it just wraps around and it just curves that area just so good. So I really like using this. So now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to be throwing down a couple of pieces. I'm going to go ahead and get them all into the same, you know, the same shape. That way I know exactly which corner I'm easily, you know, putting everything down on. And now after you put down your initial one, I am going to go ahead and move my choppa cup over to here. But now I'm going to go into the overhead mode, because as long as you can get into your thing. Now group select works a bit weird. It's kind of like a roulette, but as long as you can target your cup, you can still group select these on overhead mode, and it allows you to move them so much easier. Now, I did say it's kind of a roulette, especially on the Switch. I can't speak for PC, but on the Switch it is. Sometimes you'll grab the cup and it'll be just the cup. Sometimes you'll grab it and it'll be both. If it's just the cup, just press B. The cup will go back into place. Refocus the cup, and then you can grab it. So here we go. We focus the cup. We grab the thing. We put it into place. We grab our cup, you know, and then we move it over to the next section, and we group select, and we move this thing over, and we move it into place, just like that. Okay, so now we got the first three set, or technically the first four, but we set three more up. So now I'm just going to go ahead and just place down all the rest that I have, because I have the exact amount. Move those flowers because they were in my way last time. So I was like, you know what, we're just going to move them. And if I can just press the R button, not the ZR button, not the R button. I'm so bad about that sometimes. But so now I'm just placing all of these down. Now, one thing to note is you will see here that I do the next like 3 or so, or the next 2, you don't actually need a cup for, but it will push it back just a tiny bit. So speaking from experience and in retrospect of doing this, I will definitely say just do the cup trick on all of them if you want it to be more perfectly lined up, because you can see this is the third one and I'm just not getting it to fit the where I want it to be. So I press B, and I just kind of wanted to check it out just to make sure it was all, where I wanted it. And we just go back to doing the cup trick, and it just allows us to, well, if I grab the whole thing and not just the cup. As I said, sometimes it's a roulette and sometimes you get just the cup. And we're just going to continue putting these in place and zooming in. And if you're already group select, you can still zoom in, don't worry. Just if you want to make sure you get it put into the perfect spot. And there we go. As you can see, I'm just checking. As I said, I like to check on myself every little bit, you know, just to make sure it's all going according to plan. So now we're just going to group select. Now, obviously, if I'm doing something like this in my plot, I'm definitely going to be building up this mountain. I might put a cave on another side or something. For the sake of the video, I just stack up these pancakes and I leave these pancakes stacked up as so. But if I'm actually doing this on my plot, I will actually build up and around out and actually kind of build up the mountain. So it's just not like a big pile of, you know, rock, you know, but I wasn't just going to build up a whole mountain for this video. No offense to y'all. So we just got them, stacked them all up. And then I wanted to go on top just to realize, oh, this isn't high enough. So I had to go grab another block. But it is what it is. So I go grab me another block and I add it to the top of my stairs. And now we're going to come up here and we're going to start decorating. So now one thing to note is you can place a log up here going across the side if you want, if that's the look you want. Me personally, I actually opted into putting down a flooring and turning off the grid. That way I could get into the proper spot. And it allowed me to place a flower, a big thing of flowers a bit more further up. And because I like the idea of some flowers being like a bush of flowers growing in between a whole bunch of rocks or whatever. And so now here I am just placing some rocks, you know, at the top, kind of like for the water to kind of be like flowing out from under where all these rocks are. So just kind of, you know, placing them haphazardly and getting the top of it fixed up. And now I'm just going to come over here and just line the creek bed, the river bed, whatever you want to do it. Now you can also make this wider. You can make this like too wide if you want. But and then another thing to note is now these rocks, this particular set of rocks are a little bit weird. I had to go onto the more flatter side just to get them kind of sort of closer. So those are the ones with a bunch of little ones I don't particularly like to use for the lining. But the big rock and like the 3 rock, I do like those. But one thing to note is you can actually use the log as well. If you want to line these up, it works really well. But also, I like the idea of putting the log across the water to almost be like a bridge, you know, and that was something I really liked the idea of, is having like a little log bridge going across, just kind of fill the fantasy. As I said, if this was on my main plot, I would be building out the mountain, so it's not just a bunch of stacked rocks. But yeah, so this is pretty much how I built my waterfall and river. So thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. And yeah, so I will see y'all later. Bye.